Hey, boom, boom, boom. Open up. It's the Sixers Talk podcast knocking at your door. So glad you could join us. We're brought to you by Wilmington University, WilMU Works, Danny Pommel's, Noah Levick, and the Queen Amy Fadul. As the Sixers are still cruising in first place, it did get spooky on Halloween in South Philly in their loss to the Celtics, their first of the season. They were down 24 points, but stormed back to lose by one. Should have won it. We'll talk about it. But Joel Embiid gets fined. VJ Edgecombe, Magic Johnson, Oscar Robinson will tell you what all those guys have in common, as well as Dominick Barlow, an update that is very Sixers-like. All that coming your way here on the Sixers Talk podcast. But a little bit of recency bias here. The Sixers get a W over the Brooklyn Nets. You can't go to Brooklyn and lose to a winless team, particularly after losing on Halloween at home. But a little short three-game road trip for these 76ers as the Bulls and Cavaliers await on a back-to-back. But a lot to talk about, Noah, particularly from this Brooklyn Nets game. It was so much fun watching these Sixers share the basketball, get up and down, hit threes. Assists were everywhere. Kelly Oubre went nuts in the first quarter. Quentin Grimes was dropping dimes all over the place. What were the things that stood out to you, Noah, or was there one thing that stood out to you?
Yeah, Kelly Oubre is a good place to start. I mean, that was definitely the kind of quarter where it didn't take long to search. What is Kelly Oubre's career high, which was 40, did not hit that, but obviously had a great game. Played really well on both ends, which Nick Nurse highlighted, defended Michael Porter Jr. strongly. And yeah, it was just another one of these games where I think the Sixers got a ton of strong contributions. So there are many places you can go. By far, Trendon Watford's best game as a Sixer. He had 16, 9, and 7. Quentin Grimes hitting the career high 13 assists. But I think the moment that felt unique and cool was Kyle Lowry can check off 20th season. He is also shooting 100% from three. So he made a corner three in the closing minutes. And it was neat to see just how thrilled his teammates were for him. And, you know, you think back to Kyle Lowry's career, he's pretty much been in every single position. You know, early in his career, not playing very much, being a bench guy. He's been a star. Now he's at the point where he's basically an unofficial assistant coach and a towel waver. And as Tyrese Maxey said, like, that's not common from someone who's a Hall of Famer to just like throw himself into a role where he's not really playing anymore and still so happy to be a leader and to be a mentor. So yeah, that was the moment that stood out to me. And I thought you just sort of felt the extremes of NBA life and of how the Sixers are constructed. Because as Kelly Oubre Jr. pointed out, like, VJ Edgecombe was basically not born when Kyle Lowry made his NBA debut. He was technically, 3 months old. So, yeah, a lot of different experience levels with this team, but of course they're all having a really good time together. And Kyle Lowry's moment is definitely, I think, the one that I'll remember when we look back on this night.
Amy, in the post-game, Tyrese Maxey said that he and Kyle Lowry talk like 4 times a day.
Well, he said he calls me 4 times a day.
Maybe they don't talk, but he calls them.
I like that. It was funny during media day when we were talking about, because Kyle Lowry is one of the only people on that team that actually remember the old, the throwback jersey, the Iverson jersey, because he wasn't just like, 1 or 2 when it was around. He was like in middle school. So we were talking about some of the guys with that, and like, he's not, I think Tyrese Maxey is the one that said he's not even Unk, he's like Pop. So he's that old. They don't call him Unk, he's Pop. But I loved seeing that moment. I love seeing when Janai Broome got his first bucket, the bench went crazy. When Salas got his first bucket, the bench went crazy. Those games they're fun for that reason. But when Kyle Lowry went in, of course, Mark Jackson, who I'm sitting alongside when we see Lowry come in, who they've known each other for a very long time, we're like, oh, it's on. I was like, is he going to do anything? And he goes, no, he's probably just going to run around. And then I looked at Mark and he goes, walk around briskly. So it was good to see. It was a fun moment. It was a fun game. And it started off a little bit wonky. I thought, you can't let this Brooklyn team think they're going to do anything. I mean, Cam Thomas is a nice player, and so is Michael Porter. But aside from that, it's an exceptionally young team, and they have the worst defensive rating and stats in the NBA. And the Sixers, finally started making pretty much everything after that, and taking control of the game. So it was a fun one. It was fun for them because they've got a tough two coming up with the back-to-backs against the Bulls and the Cavaliers. But yeah, I mean, Kyle Lowry has become that leader. I think he became that leader a number of years ago. I think Toronto really helped shape him. And then when he was brought here, I think he knew his role thanks to his relationship with Nick Nurse. Obviously, they knew each other from the Toronto days. And it's been a real evolution of a guy that Jay Wright dubbed kind of, a knucklehead, a guy that, didn't always do the right thing exactly the Villanova way, so to speak, but learned how to play the right way while at Villanova, and then took that to his NBA career. And it's crazy to see the transition that he's made, and it's wonderful. And I think it's super helpful because he has become kind of Tyrese Maxey's de facto on-court coach. Certainly that started last year, and I think you're seeing that this year too.
You forget it. You talk about his arc and where he is now, and you think about his time in Toronto, which started with the fallout with Kevin McHale with the Houston Rockets, and he ends up in Toronto. And like Tyrese Maxey said in the post game, probably will have his jersey retired there when it's all said and done.
He's in a statue, so.
Right, exactly. So definitely a guy who is embracing a different role, and we have seen aging stars that have been reluctant to take on that reduced role or new role, like Allen Iverson. This jumps out, not that Allen Iverson and Kyle Lowry are apples and apples, but it just really accentuates the fact that he's embracing what's happening right now. You see him in every timeout talking to guys and, working the refs. And I was surprised that he did actually check into the game last night, but nothing wrong with that jump. You can shoot that jumper until you're like 75.
That's right.
So you might not be able to drive to the cup, might not be able to get off the floor, but you
spot
can shoot
up
that
and hit
jumper.
A three.
Absolutely. But they needed every bit of Oubre's 22 first quarter points, Amy, to your point, because it was nip and tuck in that first quarter. The Sixers did eventually pull away, but it had to be them sharing the basketball that really got it. You saw a lot of that ball movement, rotation, finding the open man, the unselfishness by this team. Of course, is another game where Tyrese Maxey is over 25 points. 6 straight games, 25 points or more, averaging 33.7, second in the NBA, 9 assists per game so far. Small sample size. We're only 6 games in, but 5-1. You probably would not have guessed that the Sixers would be 5-1 at this point.
No way. Yeah. I mean, and as you said, they're 5-1, and that means they're top of the Eastern Conference, and so is the team they face next. So I did not also think the Chicago Bulls would be at this point. So yeah, definitely one of the big early season surprises. And just I think with Lowry and the enthusiasm for this role, you're seeing a lot of why it's not so hard for him to buy into it. Like these young guards are pretty special. VJ Edgecombe, I think we're already sort of getting to the point where we take these unbelievable athletic moments for granted when his head's, seemingly a million feet above the rim.
I'm sure Nick Claxton is is prepared for the next time they see each other.
Yeah, I mean, that was it's shaping up to be an all-time dunk, and Edgecombe was just long by his own doing. I don't think Claxton impacted that attempt in the first quarter, and then Edgecombe got a couple other jams to go later in this game, but I mean, he's shooting, over 40% from 3 on good volume. His feel for the game and his intelligence continue to shine. I mean, 6 games into his career, and it feels like you can consistently pencil him in for strong contributions in many areas and winning plays. So that's awesome stuff, of course, for rookie. And yeah, as you said, Tyrese Maxey's consistency, that's a big deal as well. I think you could knock him for that at times last season, albeit in very different, difficult circumstances, but you didn't always know what you were going to get. And it felt more impactful if his jumper wasn't falling early in a game. Now he's drawing a bunch more free throws, which is really important. and he's just finding ways to help his team whenever he's out there, and he's out there almost every minute. Like even last night, over 40 minutes. So yeah, these two starting guards I think have been great, and then of course Quentin Grimes has been everything you could ask for, and then some as the Sixers sixth man, and of course Jared McCain is seemingly pretty close to a return. Saw him working out hard pregame in Brooklyn. Like he's certainly to the point where the Sixers are comfortable with him taking contact and moving sharply. And Nick Nurse said him and Paul George did some live 3-on-3 work the day prior. So certainly he should not be forgotten as well when we're talking about this youthful mix of guards. But yeah, I put myself in Kyle Lowry's shoes, and I think that would be fun to pass along everything I know to these guys who are really willing to listen, work really hard, and then of course also have so much talent.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing. They have so much talent. You're seeing them on display, but it's been channeled and it's being channeled properly. And they've got this offense, running at a rhythm that really benefits all of those guards. Quentin Grimes, I know, Danny, you did Sportsnet Central. Mark Jackson had a really good breakdown of just how much movement he does to create a lot of those assists. And that makes the rest of the offense just look so much more smooth. And the way that it operates, it's a lot. It's just a fun brand of basketball. I know you guys feel it when you're out and you talk to people and they're like, oh, they want to get excited, but they feel that trepidation. And I always look at them and say, like, why not? After last year, feel as much of joy as you want to feel. They won 24 games last year, 24 total games in an 82-game season. They started 2-12 and they finished 5-30. Like, enjoy everything. Enjoy whatever it is. You enjoy one play, enjoy one quarter, enjoy the entirety of the game. I just feel like, it's just the Sixers fans are being rewarded for the patience of trying to wait and see what everything was going to look like. VJ Edgecombe has been more than advertised. I mean, he's just as good as anybody ever thought, if not better. And the minutes that he plays, and Nick Nurse was asked that last night, and he said, about where do you see him going forward? Because, Noah just mentioned there are reinforcements coming. You have other guards you have to try to get minutes for. And he said, I see him a big time contributor going forward. And Quentin Grimes plays starters minutes. He plays 32, 33 minutes. And so obviously Maxey is playing at or the top or near the top of most minutes in the NBA. VJ Edge comes right there with them. They're all, 35 plus. So it'll be interesting to see. That's a problem that for future Nick Nurse, not for Nick Nurse right now, but that's coming down the pike. And it'll be interesting to see. Mark Jackson was just trying to figure it out. And I was just like, I don't know where I don't know where they magically appear. I guess 20 something for Jared McCain to ease him in. And then you'll have to worry about that down the road. But it's just been a fun brand of basketball. And I think you can see the joy on VJ's face and Tyrese Maxey's face and Quentin Grimes' face. They just enjoy playing together, and it's a style of basketball that really complements all of those guys.
Edgecombe, number one in points, assists, steals, and field goals for rookies. Second in threes and plus minus, averaging 21 points a game. We'll give him 5 rebounds and 5
who's
assists.
Not leading is Cooper Flack.
He's not. And they're playing him like a point guard. They probably need to stop playing him like a point guard. But and Edgecombe is getting his in the rhythm of the game. He's on a short list with guys like Magic Johnson and Oscar Robertson to be rookies, averaging 20 or more points, 5 or more rebounds, and 5 or more assists per game. It's ridiculous to think that he can sustain this over an entire season. But it's not ridiculous when you see the way that he gets his in the rhythm of the offense. One theme that has been popping up that we need to address with all the fun and excitement that these guys have brought to the court this season, it really, the fulcrum of it has been the comebacks, has been the relentlessness, has been the stick-to-itiveness for them to not give up, to continue to believe in themselves and each other. They were down 24 points against the Celtics, a team they were also down double digits to in the opener. They stormed back. Maxey shoots an off-balance, fading away shot when they were down 1. The Sixers foul, get the ball back, and then don't get a shot off and lose to the Celtics by 1. They go to Brooklyn and dump truck the Nets and get a very convincing win. But identity-wise, are you more encouraged by the fact that they don't give up and continue to fight, or the fact that they continue to have these tough third quarters, have to really rally in the fourth quarter and figure out a way to win? Where are you at? Obviously, the Bulls are coming in, the Cavaliers. The schedule gets tougher. There will be some moments where they don't live up to the expectations. Where is your head at, and how this team is playing, and what the product that they've been giving us, considering these comebacks and whatnot?
Yeah, I think it's been encouraging overall, but I think obviously there are reasons they've fallen behind in some of these games. I think defense is the biggest one so far. They've been subpar defensively. Last night was better, but it was also the weakest opponent they faced thus far. But I absolutely think, in terms of team identity, the ability to seemingly scrap back from any deficit, that's a big deal. And I think many teams would be envious of that early in a season, already showing that capacity and, yeah, just having that sort of spirit about your team. I mean, we'd said the comeback in DC was stunning. If they'd somehow won that Boston game, I think it would have topped it. I don't think they ever led in that game, came back to tie it, and yeah, just couldn't get over the hump. Obviously, it's very challenging when you give yourself such an uphill
Yeah, you
battle.
dig such a big hole, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, it was a sort of deal where they got a little magic, a little luck in one or two of these games, and it was bound to turn the other way eventually. But no, I think they feel like a 5-1 team to me. That doesn't feel super generous to them. And I think, yeah, the biggest reason for that is it's just been an elite offense, and this transformation to up-tempo, ball movement, guard-heavy basketball has gone way better than I think even Nick Nurse probably could have hoped for. I think he believed that the offseason work would translate somewhat early, and of course he knows that these guys are really talented, but it often takes a lot of time to implement these sort of systemic changes, especially when you have, a traditional ish big man as a key piece in Joel Embiid. And it's just been really, really smooth. And I would expect this will continue, that they'll be one of the best offenses in the league. I think defensively, I'm unsure. I could see a world in which they're middle of the pack and that results in them overall being an excellent team. But I could also certainly imagine a scenario where defensive rebounding continues to be problematic and lack of size continues to lose them some games defensively. So those, I think, remain areas worth focusing on, and stuff that Nick Nurse will have to tinker with as far as what the rotations look like and how he should divvy up minutes when they're a bit healthier. Of course, the hope is that Paul George boosts them in these areas where they appear a bit weaker, and I think that's reasonable enough on paper. So we shall see when he's back.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good sign that you can have those comebacks. Obviously, you don't ever want to spot yourself a double-digit comeback, when you start the fourth quarter, and that's what they've done in a majority of their games, all but two so far. But yeah, I mean, it's always a good thing to have that belief, that to know that you have that in your bag, that when push comes to shove, you can actually, come through, and you're going to need that. As Noah mentioned, the schedule does get a lot tougher. You have these back-to-backs this week with two of the better teams in the Eastern Conference, and you have another back-to-back on the weekend, and against teams that are obviously one of them more formidable too. So the East is open. If you play the way that the Sixers are able to play, they could be one of the top three teams in the East. I don't think that that's out of the realm of conversation, even though I think I picked them fifth or sixth. I'm not going to go back on that, even though I'm probably going to come back wrong. That's fine, and that's going to be okay, and I'll take that. But yeah, I mean, ideally you cruise to a win, but that's not realistic in the NBA, as we learn with that Wizards game or even the Nets game. Like these are professional teams; they do have professional players, and there are times where you're gonna be in a battle that you didn't really expect. The first quarter of the Nets game, most of that Wizards game, you're thinking some of the Hornets game. It's like, well, these are teams that can score, and they do have players that can score. So you cannot let your guard up defensively. They obviously have they're giving up some size in favor of the athletic and pace that they play with and the players they play with. There's hope. There's sort of some stabilization with that, as Noah mentioned too, when you have Paul George back, and obviously Joel Embiid is off of a minutes restriction to have a little bit more defensive size and presence in there. But right now, if they finish, 14, 15 in defense and they're scoring, one of the top 3 teams, then that's a recipe for a good team and a team that should be successful in the playoffs to a degree.
Yeah, you can always outscore them.
That's right.
You can always outscore them. And we will get more on Joel Embiid in a minute. But listen, we've had this debate in the content room plenty of times about which manager, which coach, which skipper is more crucial in the decision making when it comes to their team. So is it like a baseball manager, like Miguel Rojas pinch hitting and hitting a home run for the first time since September 19th to tie up the
Dave Roberts putting in Pajes and they sit in center field?
Exactly. And he runs over Kiki Hernandez to make that incredible catch. So, or, you got Nick Nurse here trying to juggle and call the number of the right guys at the right time when it comes to McCain and George when they come back. How much do you play Edgecombe? Where's Grimes going to fit in? You had a dozen guys score baskets last night against the Nets. A dozen dudes. So it just, some of those guys won't be playing necessarily. I feel like Justin Edwards might be the odd man out in a lot of these instances, but all that to say, hockey, line changes and who needs to be on the ice at which time. And, you can go on down the line. Maybe football, less so. The head coach has others he can, pass off the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, some of the responsibilities to. And yes, Nick Nurse is definitely getting input from other guys, but this will be an interesting cocktail for him to mix when it comes to the guard play, the small ball stuff, where you play Paul George, how you play Embiid. And I don't want to get too much of Embiid. I want to kind of save that for the next part of the podcast, but it'll be interesting to see how that all comes together with this team.
Yeah, they call him. Sometimes he's been known as a mad scientist, Nick Nurse.
Well, and Noah talked about the last
little
podcast,
potions.
The amount of minutes that Edgecombe and Maxey play are likely not to tail off a whole lot because he plays guys extended minutes. It was particularly those guards that he likes to have out on the floor. So it might not tail off a whole lot when it comes to McCain and the rest of the backcourt being healthy.
And you mentioned Quentin Grimes. I mean, I think his minutes, they might go down, but I think most important is when his minutes are. He has been the closer minutes, right? He's been fourth quarter and all these comebacks. He's the guy that's on the court for those minutes. And that'll be interesting to see because he's been kind of tabbed that. Some of his best games, he was kind of middling, 8, 9 points. And then the fourth quarter would hit and he would explode. Defensively, he obviously is usually drawing one of the better positions on the guards on the other team, even a 3. And then he's scoring at a good clip in the fourth quarter. So that'll be interesting to me.
He ain't a good player on a bad team, Amy. You might have thought that last year.
Exactly. He's proving he's a good player on a good team. In closing time. In minutes where they need him.
Yes, he is guarding up. He is clutch with the buckets. He's relentless when it comes to.
So it's like, say you take some of his minutes away, whatever those minutes are, you're going to make sure he's got at least 7 available, I would imagine, for the last bit in the fourth quarter, because he's been very solid for them in that final frame.
Yeah, and I mean, last night pregame, Adam Aronson, Philly Voice, asked Nurse, has he considered starting the 3 guards plus Oubre because that's statistically been most successful for the Sixers? He said yes, that's under consideration.
Starting those guys, wow.
Yeah,
and he's a guy that of course explores many options, is open to all possibilities, etc. But that's on the table, I think, in large part just because these guards have played so well together. And I think there's still questions to be answered, as you noted, when Jared McCain is back in here. But yeah, I think it feels like a pretty safe assumption that Quentin Grimes is going to keep playing 30 plus minutes as long as his play does not dramatically drop off. And watching Trenton Watford last night, it wasn't hard for me to imagine.
16, 9, and 7.
Really good. Yeah. I mean, I think just his style of play seems to mesh really well with what the Sixers are doing. He's a guy who like very smoothly improvises, plays nicely off of guards, obviously handles and passes the ball a bunch himself. I think defensively, again, there are questions still to answer as far as what positions will he guard, how will he hold up against different guys, different roles the Sixers throw him in there, whatever. But offensively, you can see the promise, I think. Obviously, Tyrese Maxey's his good friend. There's some natural chemistry there. But I think he feels like the sort of player where you throw him into any sort of situation and he's very comfortable. He makes the right play. He moves the ball. He drives and kicks. And he just contributes to great offensive basketball. So I think if Watford continues doing that, hard to keep him from playing a good number of minutes in all likelihood off the Sixers bench. And yeah, as far as like odd man out sort of candidates, Justin Edwards has to be up there. He's still just not making any shots. And if you're a 3-and-D player, you've got to be checking both of those boxes to some extent. And Jabari Walker's been starting, but might not really be playing very much once the Sixers are healthier. Obviously, Dominick Barlow was ahead of him in the pecking order for good reason. And yeah, Walker's done the job, but again, not a guy who's really added much in terms of shot making or playmaking offensively. So when the Sixers are trimming things down, he very well might end up being on the bench, I would imagine, for some of these games. But last night was one where Nurse only used 8 rotation guys. So I think already he's maybe thinking ahead to how does he want to trim it a bit. But yeah, more cuts will be required if and when the Sixers are at full strength. And that seems to be the hope in the pretty near future based on what the team is saying about the progress that McCain and George have been making.
We want to show some love to our title sponsor, Wilmington University, because they have supported us every step of the way here on the Sixers Talk podcast. At Wilmington University, your dream is our mission. We can help you get the skills you need for the career you want. Learn more at wilmu.edu. Back here on the Sixers Talk podcast, Noah, can we get a Dominick Barlow update? This is the worst laceration in history. He's wearing a brace now, apparently, to protect it. What did Nick Nurse say?
Yeah, I mean, just asked about pregame because obviously it seems like it had gotten to the point where this hasn't been proceeding according to the Sixers' expectations, and Nurse did acknowledge as much. He said initially, they thought it would be a faster recovery, smoother recovery. Yeah, I mean, as far as specifics, he said he's wearing some sort of brace that like straightens his elbow. He said it's like right at the point of his elbow, and I guess alluded to that making it a more difficult or problematic.
How did it happen? I just don't know.
He played in the game. Right. He played in the game.
Against Charlotte, right?
I mean, yeah, he got ruled out at halftime, so there must have been some sort of cut that occurred during the game, and he had a procedure to address it. I think it was like maybe 5
elbow.
Like, I get it. That's a hard place to heal, but what's happening right now? It's a cut, right? It's wild to me.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll learn a little more. I mean, Nurse said update expected early next week. We're right on the point of that elbow.
Did you guys know you can't touch your elbow to your mouth? It's impossible. Can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do it.
Oh, okay. Is that what goes on in the Fedora?
I got all kinds of fun facts here.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
It's
crazy, man.
It's a bit.
Welcome to being a Sixer, Dominick.
And honestly, I think I saw someone on social media was like, "It's the most Sixer injury ever," and I was like, "Well, it's not the most, but it's definitely in the running for a laceration that has a guy out for a month."
Right. Oh man, this Dominick
Cut
Barlow
on the
playing
point
well
of his
against the Celtics. Man, Dominick Barlow, really small ball guy. We found a great guy.
Yeah, he had such a great game.
On the shelf. Forget about it.
From an elbow cut.
Yeah.
Of all places.
Yeah,
And he
I
had
got
surgery. Did he have surgery on it? Like they had to mend it?
procedure was the term used. I imagine
Like a
stitches,
steri strip or like a super glue?
some sort of stitching or patching up seemed to be the implication. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's been a little over a week now, so feels longer because he was starting their first two games and felt like he was entrenched, as a key player, and now
Had a
he's
great training camp. It was
Yeah.
all going the
Everybody's all
right way.
excited.
yeah. So we'll see what the update is, but I can't imagine like he's going to be playing in this. I mean, it would surprise me if he's playing this back to back because he hasn't even been practicing or
No.
around the team. So I would think at a bare minimum, a return wouldn't be on the table until they're back home, and I'm not sure, exactly what the return date will be. So, I mean, Nurse said it's not super serious, it's not major. That is his understanding.
It's annoying, is what it is.
But
It's annoying.
yeah, I mean, I think there would just perhaps be a greater sense of clarity and kind of knowing at a bare minimum that this, truly isn't something really bad. Just like seeing him around, he hasn't been around for a while.
Yeah.
So,
And that's the thing. It's like, when did it happen? How did it happen? How
I
do you
don't
get a
know.
cut so bad that it needs some kind of mending, steri strips, stitching, some kind of procedure, and some kind of brace / bandage
He
on it to
slipped and
keep it like,
fell on his way back to the locker room. Something happened that we don't
I
quite know
know,
about. Something happened, but
on his elbow.
hope he feels better. Hope he gets better soon. But the Sixers are figuring out ways without him. Not that he was this crucial piece, but he was definitely a bright spot for this team and an unexpected one, particularly with Joel Embiid on his minutes restriction. So it's funny, guys. He plays Halloween on his restriction, and in those 20 minutes, he managed to garner a $50,000 fine.
25. He played 25 whole minutes.
25 minutes. In a $50,000 fine in those 25 minutes for his Degeneration X crotch chop. But Joel responds on Twitter.
That was great. What a response.
Y'all better start finding the refs for doing the lewd blocking foul gesture if I'm not allowed to do it at NBA. And then that was one tweet. And then he added the NBA with a meme of
just show, yes, the ref.
Of the thrusting, which is getting him nowhere, by the way. That will mean nothing in his spine or what. And the Sixers got to be careful. This is going to get outlawed too. The finger gun celebration that they're all doing. The NBA is going to come down on that too and get that out of here.
It's turning into the no fun league, to be honest. Like, I get like there's certain things you shouldn't do. He has done the DX chop for years. He's a giant wrestling fan. We know that
process.
He has done the DX chop for a decade, and it feels like. And I know that it's not.
I'm sure that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
50 large for the DX.
Yeah,
chop?
that's the thing. They have to make it like 10,000 is one thing. 50 that's a good chunk of change. Yeah, that's a good chunk of change, no matter what your salary is. That's a good chunk of change. He was not happy about it. The only thing I like about it is that Joel Embiid is kind of back, because we hadn't seen Joel Embiid in a while, and now he's back. And he's trolling the league, which is not a good idea, but I'm kind of here for it. To troll the league with one of their refs in a GIF is just, that's pretty peak.
Yeah, like it's not a bad point to make. I mean, I think he's got to know that if he does that, he's probably going to get fined at this point. I mean, it's happened multiple times.
Yeah. They don't like it.
They're not a fan of it. Looking back, it was initially referred to as an obscene gesture, and now it is, I guess, been elevated to a lewd gesture.
Lewd, yeah.
Which to me feels.
Oh, is that that's
feels
elevation?
Worse.
Okay.
Well, lewd feels worse than obscene
and lewd. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, because obscene is like the finger, like it's offensive.
Lewd is like I'm wearing a trench coat with nothing underneath, type of thing.
Lewd is
pretty strong term there. So, I mean, he was initially fined $25,000 for it. Looking back a few years ago, and now it's escalated to 50.
Next time, 100.
He's been fined, I think, 75 before, and the Sixers have for injury reporting issues.
$195,000 total. Embiid has been fined. I got it right here.
Okay, yeah.
But that's not all about the DX chop. That's about other stuff.
That's just fines.
Just in general fines, almost $2,000. 200K. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I think a few of them are under this category.
Danny's salary.
Yeah, it's not a small number. So, yeah, as far as on the court, like, you know, it was obviously a mixed bag for him in the Boston game, and he's at least increasing those minutes a little bit, which is of course very much what he's hoping for, up to 25, and it just seems like it's going to be a very gradual plan, and of course it's complicated a little by these two back-to-back. So the Sixers, I think, reasonably.
So where do we see him? Do we see him against the Bulls or the Cavs?
I would assume against the Bulls. I mean,
Me
since
too.
this one against Brooklyn, I don't think generally they like to unnecessarily rest him for 2 days in a row. I know he personally doesn't like that, just in terms of rhythm and conditioning and not wanting to lose that too much. So yeah, I'd say I would expect
Bulls fans are going to hate that. He has given them hell.
I know
over
he
the
has.
years, man. Oh my
he's had
God.
some
He's
huge
had some really good games against Chicago. They've been good.
Yeah, so he'll be out there, I would assume. But yeah, I guess they're in all likelihood probably kind of split, you know, both these back-to-backs with his availability, and I'm sure he's not going to be thrilled about it, but they've got their plan and they seem determined to stick to it early in the year, despite, you know, whatever his preferences may be. So yeah, last night he was just in there chilling out, playing MLB The Show on his.
Well, wait. And
he
what
loves
happened?
baseball.
What happened in the post game? He's like trying to get Maxey to throw him an alley oop, and behind Kelly Oubre getting interviewed on the broadcast.
Yes, on the broadcast. Yeah. That's the thing. Like he's enjoying
like
himself.
shooting around behind Oubre in his street clothes.
I like that he's kind of having this playful nature. We haven't seen that in a bit, and we saw it before when they were obviously doing well and when he was healthy at times, and I enjoy that. You see him very active on the bench, you know, celebrating. I like that he's having fun. I like that, you know, he's back to the Trowell stuff. He posted on Halloween. He said he was like his wife, I think, was Wednesday Adams. His son was a Transformer, Optimus Prime, and he said he was a part-time basketball player. Like, that's funny to me. Stuff like that is funny. I have an appreciation for
humor.
it. So that's funny to me. So I appreciate that. Though I think that Nick Nurse won the costume contest in my book. He was Ted Lasso, and it was really well done.
He said he was Bob Ross one year, which I would have liked.
Oh, that would have been good. Wow. I need to see that.
The palette of paints.
The happy little trees.
Yeah. Basketball question for you, though. Are the Sixers, they're trending and shifting toward the multiple guard lineups, 3-guard lineups, Kelly Oubre as maybe a small ball 4? Are they better when Joel they know Joel isn't playing, or when he's on the floor in a minutes restriction? Like, what the flow of the team, how the offense and the defense runs, you know who's available already and how long they'll be out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
yeah,
what do you think?
There's benefits, obviously, of going in knowing we don't have Joel Embiid, like the Cavaliers game. That would be a great game if you want to try it out 3 guards, just the way that the Cavaliers kind of operate. Their backcourt is an undersized backcourt, so to speak, so I could see it. But to say it's a better team without Joel Embiid, I don't think I could go that far. You're better equipped, I think, without Joel Embiid. They're 2-0 without Joel Embiid. That's a sentence that, you know, they're undefeated without Joel Embiid. It's never happened. That sentence has never occurred, and nor do I think it ever will. But to say that right now is pretty good. So I think they're better equipped to play games without him. But I understand what you're saying because of the style they play.
I'm not.
Do they take a
right
step back?
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely an argument to be made that they play a better style when it's just the guards. But I just think he can add so much. Defensively, he got 2 blocks in that Celtics game. That's the most active we'd seen from him on that end as far as trying to get ramped up to the defensive presence that he can be. He's just a force out there. When he is out there, you have to commit a person to him, sometimes 2, even if he's on a minutes restriction. So it's a different style. I'm not quite there to say it's a better team, but I get what you're saying because they are equipped better to play without him than they've ever been, even going back to like probably 2019.
And it's a quicker up-tempo basketball.
Yeah.
It's more interchangeable. The
It's
ball moves.
for sure.
The ball moves in a way that we haven't seen, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, to me, even just based on like the very early evidence, it does seem like when Joel Embiid's not out there and it's just a bunch of guards, there's less likelihood of someone such as VJ Edgecombe kind of fading from the picture and being peripheral. And that's not because Joel Embiid is unwilling to share the ball. I think he's actually very happy to play this style, but just the reality is he takes a little longer to get up the floor, and he commands a certain amount of seconds with the ball in his hand, right? Like if he's running a two-man game with Maxey, that's going to take a little time to develop. They're going to try to probe the defense, run their pick and rolls, their DHOs. And, historically that's been super efficient. But if you're talking purely in terms of style of play and spreading the wealth and that sort of thing, yeah, maybe the Sixers will wind up being a little better in certain ways when Joel Embiid's not out there. I do have to say there was the one season when Doc Rivers was the head coach of this team where the Sixers were really good without Joel Embiid. Paul Reed, played very well in those games. James Harden was a big reason why. So it's not unheard of, but it's definitely the exception to the norm. And I think absolutely, if you're talking in terms of team identity and clarity, they seem in a really good spot right now. However, the onus becomes a little higher on Adem Bona to be solid, to not foul, to play consistent basketball. And Andre Drummond has had a nice start to this year, but I not regularly find myself thinking I have no idea what he's about to do right now, for better and for worse. Gina Mizell with the Inquirer calls it the Andre Drummond experience. It's a lot of fun for us all. He's firing those threes. He's just doing everything with a lot of bravado, a lot of confidence. He started the year really well, but if you're just talking like purely in terms of how solid are the Sixers behind Embiid, I think there's plenty to like, but I also think you of course feel much better about knowing what production you're going to get for your center spot when Joel Embiid is available and playing a bunch of minutes. So yeah, I think part of what makes it murky right now is just the minutes restriction, Embiid adjusting to that, everyone sort of trying to figure out what that means for rotations and roles. But I would still, lean way more toward the side of, even though there are certain complications, having a great player available, it is inherently, preferable on a bunch of fronts for your team.
You could even insert Paul George into that conversation because he's more of an ISO player. The ball might slow down when he's, trying to work his defender and get a bucket rather than moving the basketball or, putting up a quicker shot or what have you. So just something to think about. But all the same, though, you'd rather have these guys than not. So let's hope that everybody's healthy soon. But, hey, we will be here Thursday, another Sixers Talk podcast after the back-to-back. 2 more games on the slate before we see you guys again. So hopefully we're talking about 2 more wins. And try to kiss your elbow. Try to get it there.
Try to do it. Everybody see if you can do it. Can't do it. It's impossible.
Much love to Wilmington University and all they do for us. For Big Game, Amy Fadul and Noah Levick. Check out Noah's work on NBC Sports Philadelphia.com. Amy will be on Sixers pre- and post-game live with all the breakdowns with Mark and the coach. I'm Danny Pommells. Thanks for listening and watching. We'll see you next time.